My roommate loved showing off her wealthy older brother. My brother Oliver is rich and incredibly generous. Don't let a good opportunity go to waste. You girls should make a move. The comments floating before my eyes lit up. Forbidden romance? I'm obsessed. The female lead is secretly using the quiet supporting girl to test her brother's feelings. The male lead only flirted with the supporting girl out of spite. Once that clueless supporting girl confesses and throws herself at him, the male and female leads can finally be together. Good thing the other gold digger NPC roommate knows her place. Otherwise, the male lead's wallet wouldn't survive. The gold digger NPC they were mocking was me. Tilting my head, I looked at my roommate. So, would your brother mind if one more person started chasing him? The smile on Lisa's face froze. Her gaze swept over my designer handbag before she sneered. He can't stand girls who care too much about status and luxury. But if you like him, go ahead, be my guest. That night, I sent Oliver a friend request. Your sister said you have a thing for me. Is that true? Chapter 1. Oliver was the most famous rich kid on campus. Handsome, from a top-tier family, and he'd never had a girlfriend. His only flaw was his terrible temper, except when it came to his younger sister, Lisa. He was endlessly patient with her. The siblings had always been close. Until recently, when Lisa got herself a boyfriend. The two had a huge fight. Lisa complained to our roommates nonstop. How has Oliver ever been good to me? I'm already an adult. Why does he think he gets to control who I date? That jerk used me as an excuse again yesterday to reject another girl. He actually told her that if I wasn't dating anyone, neither was he. But I guess he really is handsome. Girls have always been chasing him. The roommate beside her spoke softly. Oliver's ideal type is basically identical to you. If you weren't siblings, I'd think you two were dating. Another roommate laughed and joined in. There are tons of people online shipping you two. If you were actually a couple, I'd lose my mind. Your height difference is just too cute. Lisa gave an exaggerated little huff, but the corners of her lips curled up. She was obviously enjoying every second of it. When school first started, a photo of Lisa and Oliver together had gone viral. Oliver wore his usual cold, intimidating expression while staring at her talking to an upperclassman. The internet interpreted it as jealousy. 2 days later, people everywhere were shipping them. Lisa eventually posted a clarification. They were just siblings. Oliver had taken their father's surname. She had taken their mother's. Oliver had never been the low-profile type either. His luxury cars regularly drove straight onto campus. Once people discovered his dating history was practically spotless, girls started pursuing him in droves. Even the rich playboys who tried copying his style were mocked online for being cheap knockoffs. I listened quietly. Because of Lisa, Oliver often treated our entire dorm to meals. He even reimbursed our shopping expenses. Naturally, everyone was happy to tell her exactly what she wanted to hear. Lisa pouted. Now that I have a boyfriend, stop shipping me with my brother. Then she turned to the other two roommates. If you're interested, go after him. My family doesn't care about social status anyway. Maybe then he'll finally stop meddling in my life. After saying that, she lowered her head and posted screenshots of the argument she had with Oliver that morning. Caption: Is it normal for my brother to interfere with my dating life when I'm already an adult? The comments instantly turned into another shipping party. Since Oliver was handsome, and Lisa constantly posted photos of him along with screenshots of the huge transfers he sent her, he had plenty of online admirers fantasizing about him. Lisa casually took screenshots of a few of their profiles and sent them to Oliver. Come on, you're not getting any younger. So many girls like you. It's about time you started dating. Oliver replied almost instantly. Not interested. Lisa smiled. What about one of my roommates? Then the four of us could all hang out together. Wouldn't that be convenient? Oliver let out a cold laugh. You really want me to consider it? Lisa replied. Rita is adorable. Karen is quiet and gentle. Neither of them has ever dated. And they're both genuinely nice girls. I think someone calm would suit you better. It's a shame you're not interested in the prettiest one, though I get it. Zoe has dated plenty of guys, and she has no shortage of admirers. I was honestly worried you'd fall for her. The floating comments appeared again. The female lead keeps secretly dating someone behind the male lead's back. And he's absolutely furious. They're not actually related by blood, just step-siblings. They've known each other for less than a year. The female lead is adorable and spoiled. It's perfectly normal for the male lead to fall for her at first sight. Once he realizes what she's trying to do, he deliberately starts flirting with the supporting girl to make her jealous. They're so adorable during the flirting stage. The one who's loved always has the confidence to be reckless. The female lead won't break down crying until later. Right now, she's still busy provoking her brother. Ha ha ha. Chapter 2. The floating comments revealed every conversation between the male and female leads. From them, I learned one thing. I was nothing more than a pretty background NPC. My sole purpose was to highlight how completely devoted the male lead was to the female lead. To him, she was the most beautiful girl in the world. According to the comments, when the female lead first brought Oliver to campus, she noticed him glance at me for an extra second. She immediately panicked that he'd fall for me at first sight. She had always felt a little insecure because Oliver was so ridiculously attractive. She worried she wasn't good enough for him, so she told her friends that she thought Oliver liked me. Somehow, that rumor reached Oliver. He denied it immediately. Later, the female lead personally heard him say that the kind of woman he disliked the most was someone as materialistic and flirtatious as me. Only then did she finally relax. The comments laughed. So what if the NPC is unbelievably gorgeous? The male lead doesn't even spare her a glance. The female lead kept subtly testing whether her brother liked the pretty background NPC. Silly girl. Of course he only likes you. He's not that shallow. Lisa continued encouraging my two roommates to pursue her brother. The comments started calling me a gold digger again. I stared at them expressionlessly. The broke guys at school didn't dare approach me. As for the rich ones, other than their family backgrounds, none of them could match me in looks or academics. Since they lacked enough charm to win me over, they simply tried buying my affection instead. To me, that was just another consensual relationship. Fine. If everyone insisted on calling me a gold digger, then I might as well go after the most expensive man available. Before my other two roommates could answer Lisa, I cut her off. So, would you mind if I joined the race? Lisa's smile stiffened. You like Oliver? Didn't you just break up with your boyfriend? I answered calmly. A while ago, I heard someone say Oliver had a crush on me, so I got a little curious. Lisa froze. A flicker of suspicion crossed her eyes. After all, she was the one who had started that rumor. She clearly hadn't expected it to reach me. She quickly composed herself. Her eyes drifted to the designer handbag on my desk, and her tone cooled. My brother has never liked girls who are obsessed with luxury or status. But if you're interested, go ahead. He has plenty of money, enough to keep you happy. A moment later, she awkwardly added, besides, who knows whether that rumor was even true? I only left you out earlier because I thought you still had feelings for your ex. The shy expressions on my other two roommates' faces disappeared. They looked at me in surprise. Zoe, you're actually going to chase someone? Rita looked at me as though I'd lost my mind. With a face like yours, why would you ever chase a guy? Lisa's brother has an awful personality. Please come to your senses. Karen, the quiet supporting girl from the original story, hesitated before speaking. Maybe the rumor is true. There's no smoke without fire. Oliver has been coming to our dorm building all the time lately. Maybe he's actually here to see Zoe. And every time Lisa's brother comes, he treats our entire dorm to dinner. The two exchanged a look. Their eyes lit up with excitement. Ever since I was little, I'd always gotten excellent grades. I was also the kind of person who got along with everyone. To guarantee 4 years of comfortable college life, I'd volunteered to take charge of all our group projects from the very beginning. Because of that, my roommates and I had always had a great relationship. After a brief discussion, they unanimously decided not to pursue Oliver. Instead, they chose to become my wing women. We'd rather keep shipping people. And honestly, Zoe's face is a perfect match for your brothers. Lisa fell silent. She lowered her head and stared at her phone. I guessed. She was probably texting the male lead again. Chapter 3. The floating comments exploded. What the hell? Wasn't that gold digger always acting all high and mighty? Now she's trying to steal someone else's man? Relax. Even if she makes the first move, she's got no chance. She probably won't even get his WeChat. The male lead never adds random girls. In the original story, He didn't even accept the supporting girl's friend request. He only added her later after the female lead pissed him off. This gold digger is about to embarrass herself. I watched them analyze me with amusement. Apparently, even an omniscient point of view wasn't always accurate. Most of what they assumed about me was completely wrong. That so-called pride of mine? It was simply because none of my pursuers met my standards for a long-term partner. So I couldn't be bothered responding. And the reason I'd never considered the male lead wasn't because I knew my place. As the comments imagined, it was because I'd already noticed that Lisa had feelings for her brother. I wasn't about to ruin my relationship with a roommate, or my quality of life, over a man, but from now on, everything could be reassessed. They weren't related by blood. They were merely step-siblings who had known each other for less than a year. Their bond couldn't possibly be that deep. If they kept testing each other over and over, that only proved how fragile it really was. Lisa lowered her head and continued texting. The comments said she was asking the male lead whether I was his type. Chapter 4. Seeing another familiar name pop up in Lisa's messages. Oliver frowned. I already told you, I'm not interested. They had argued that very morning. Lisa had started dating a pretty boy gold digger, and she kept trying to push other girls toward him. Oliver was still annoyed. His expression darkened. Out of the other two roommates, which one are you closer to? Lisa replied immediately. Karen. Karen's quiet. Rita is obsessed with good-looking people. She's the clingy type, so I don't think you'd like her. Oliver simply replied. After that, he said nothing else. In the past, he'd always respond whenever Lisa shared little updates about her day. But ever since she'd gotten a boyfriend, he hadn't replied to a single one. Lisa pursed her lips. Oddly enough, seeing Oliver act so differently made her feel relieved instead. She looked back at me with a smile. What if my brother ends up liking one of the other roommates? You wouldn't be upset, would you? I actually think Karen suits him better. She's really gentle. Karen's smile vanished. She sat there awkwardly before giving Lisa a strange look. Then she secretly sent me a private message. I'm scared of ridiculously handsome guys. They intimidate me. QWQ. I replied with a pat on the head sticker. She visibly relaxed. In the original story, unless the male lead approached Karen first, someone with her personality would never make the first move. The comments revealed what would happen that night. Karen would reject the male lead's friend request and reply, "Don't you know Zoe's dating rule? She doesn't let her boyfriend add other girls. That's why she dumped her last one." He secretly added another woman. "If you want our help pursuing someone, just ask Lisa to tell us." After sending that message, Karen secretly took a screenshot and sent it to me. "Lisa's brother really does seem to like you." The comments immediately erupted again. The supporting girl is unbelievably dense. No wonder she got dumped in the original story. The male lead never says what he's actually thinking. The background NPC is definitely going to misunderstand again. I glanced at the comments with a faint sneer. After spending the entire day studying the male lead's personality and preferences, I tagged Lisa in our group chat. "Sweetie, do you think Oliver would like someone like me? I'm worried I'm not his type." Lisa frowned, despite what she really thought. She replied, "Relax, you're gorgeous." Then she shared a long list of Oliver's habits and preferences in the group. "My brother has a terrible temper. He ignores people's messages all the time. If he upsets you, just tell me. I'll beat him up for you." Smiling, I replied with a single word, "Deal." Then I sent Oliver a friend request. "Your sister said you like me. Is that true?" In the original story, the male lead was the one who deliberately started the flirting. There was no reason that, with me instead, I'd have to throw myself at him. When Oliver saw the familiar profile picture, he paused. The girl hadn't even introduced herself. He already knew it was Zoe. Over the past 2 months since school started, one rich kid after another had tried courting her. Every single one had failed. The only one who'd succeeded had reportedly been dumped less than a week later. Back then, someone had started a rumor that Oliver liked Zoe. 3 of his friends had even come to sound him out. Frowning slightly, Oliver accepted my request. His very first message was, "What exactly did Lisa tell you?" I sent him a screenshot. Lisa had shared plenty of his personal preferences in our group chat. Oliver's eyes turned noticeably colder, but he never denied liking me. He had always been good at blurring emotional boundaries. The comments exploded once more. What a scheming woman. She even sent screenshots. She's so vicious. So annoying. The male lead is definitely going to get close to the gold digger out of spite now. His wallet is doomed. He should have picked Karen instead. It's fine. Once the female lead cries later, he'll definitely run back to coax her. And this gold digger will definitely be the one demanding a relationship first. The moment this clown makes a move, the male lead will admit he only loves the female lead. I replied casually, I don't date men with bad tempers. If you can meet my standards for a boyfriend, then I'll date you. Oliver paused for a moment. Then he let out a quiet laugh. Deal. Chapter 5. For someone who never had to worry about money, throwing cash at a girl was the quickest and most effective strategy. Oliver privately messaged 2 friends from his social circle who had pursued me before, asking about my preferences. Friend A replied, just send her money. I transferred $5,200. And she agreed to go on a date with me. Too bad she picked someone richer afterward. Friend B, my ex, answered with absolute confidence. Buy her a designer bag. She likes those. Oliver followed their advice. He transferred $52,000 to me. Buy yourself something you like. According to the floating comments, whenever he treated our dorm to dinner, he'd reimburse all our shopping too. Even combined, we'd never spent more than $10,000 in a day. So naturally, he assumed there was no way I'd refuse. But if a transfer wasn't clearly marked as a voluntary gift, who would dare accept it? Less than 3 seconds later, he saw that I'd declined the transfer. I replied politely, I'm not short on money. What you're missing is sincerity. I thought you were different. Then I sent him screenshots. They showed the transfer requests I'd rejected in the past, along with the chats where I'd blocked those greasy rich boys. Oliver immediately recognized both of his friends. Friend A had never managed to get a date with me. As for friend B, he'd confessed privately, been rejected, then lied to everyone that we dated. After I found out, I'd blocked him without hesitation. Yet he'd spent all this time telling people that I'd dumped him because I'd gotten jealous after he added other girls. Suppressing his irritation, Oliver confronted them. Friend A laughed awkwardly. Come on, didn't she end up dating another rich guy afterward? Just ask him. Maybe you didn't spend enough. The other dude bought her a designer bag. Friend B replied, she really is pretty full of herself. Beautiful girls are like that. Don't tell me she rejected you too. Ha ha ha. Oliver stared coldly at the screen. He could tell they were enjoying his misfortune. Calmly, he replied, no, she's still evaluating me. Honestly, she's pretty nice. I thought she'd block me. The chat instantly fell silent. Looking at the designer bag in his hands, Oliver suddenly felt as though it weighed a ton. The floating comments narrated every bit of his hesitation in real time. He wasn't stupid. After thinking it over for a while, he finally sent me an apologetic message. He asked if we could meet tomorrow, at 6 in the evening. The comments immediately popped up. He deliberately picked 6 because the female lead just told him she's going on a date with her boyfriend. Tomorrow's going to be an epic 4-person showdown. Ha ha ha. I glanced at the comments with a faint smile before replying. Oliver tapped my message. A soft female voice drifted from his phone. This is your first time chasing a girl, isn't it? Before asking someone out, you're supposed to check whether she's actually free. I have a yoga class at 6:30 tomorrow evening, so I won't have time. How about 8? You can walk me back to my dorm after class. The last sentence sounded almost like she was acting spoiled. Her voice lingered lazily at the end, yet every word was crisp and clear. Oliver replayed the voice message, then simply replied, okay. After that, he started asking about my hobbies and daily routine. The more he learned, the more he felt that a girl this beautiful and this disciplined naturally had countless admirers. I worked out every week, studied in the library regularly, was generous with others. Even professors and students alike spoke highly of me. Then another message from Zoe appeared. I'm really sensitive about the guy I like having other girls around. I get jealous easily. I also check my boyfriend's phone pretty often. Of course, if you ever feel insecure, you're welcome to check mine anytime too. A photo followed, along with a request. Change your phone wallpaper to this. Oliver froze as he looked at the live photo. The picture was so clear he could even make out the tiny peach fuzz on her face. She was breathtaking. She was slightly nearsighted. Without her glasses, her long, almond-shaped eyes looked even more captivating. They didn't clash with her cool, elegant features at all. A phrase suddenly came to mind: the quieter the beauty, the more breathtaking it becomes. If anyone else had made a request like this, he would have found it annoying. But somehow, coming from her, it didn't feel unreasonable in the slightest. Oliver changed his wallpaper. After sending me a screenshot as proof, he immediately received another sweet voice message. "See you tomorrow." Attached was a picture of a little cat making a heart. Lisa had always said Zoe barely spoke in the dorm. His friends had also told him she was famously aloof and rarely paid attention to anyone. Yet before they were even dating, she was already making so many demands. It almost felt as though she genuinely liked him. She wasn't even trying to hide it. She'd even told him this was the first time she'd ever taken the initiative to add a guy. Only after realizing he'd unconsciously saved her photo did Oliver notice how unsettled he felt. Half an hour later, his phone suddenly filled with messages. Everyone was asking the same question. Had he actually won Zoe over? 2 minutes earlier, Zoe had posted a new story on Instagram. The photo showed two cats she just photographed beneath the dorm building. Their tails curved together into the shape of a heart. Her Instagram only displayed posts from the past 6 months. And this was the only thing she'd posted during that entire period. Oliver stared at it for a long moment, then quietly tapped the like button. He had never pursued a girl before. The feeling was strangely new. Chapter 6. Oliver arrived 10 minutes early. What he hadn't expected was that Zoe was already waiting outside. Through the car window, he spotted her immediately. The area was crowded and noisy. Every now and then, people would glance in Zoe's direction. Even standing there silently, she naturally became the center of attention. Normally, those looks were directed at him. Oliver watched her quietly for a while. Then he checked the time. Zoe had asked him to pick her up at 8:30. It was only 8:20. The floating comments immediately appeared. What a schemer. She's deliberately waiting outside for the male lead. Her yoga class ended at 8. She spent more than 10 minutes touching up a no-makeup look. She even changed outfits and made herself smell amazing. If this isn't seducing the male lead, I'll eat shit upside down. If only the female lead had half this much game, she'd have won her brother ages ago. Good thing the male lead only loves the female lead. They'll definitely run into each other later. I can't wait for the drama. I'd noticed him the moment he arrived, but I pretended not to. Keeping my head lowered, I stared at my phone, quietly switching back to our chat history. Only when a shadow fell across me did I hurriedly lock the screen. Oliver caught a glimpse of his own profile picture before it disappeared. Had Zoe been rereading their conversation this whole time? I looked up with a bright smile. My eyes curved gently as I stepped closer. "You're here." The distance between us was suddenly very small. He could smell a faint fragrance. It wasn't overpowering. It carried a hint of camellia mixed with the clean scent of fresh soap. Subtle, refreshing. It only became noticeable when she moved close. Almost instinctively, he took half a step back. His gaze settled on her. The floating comments were full of praise. "The male lead is such a gentleman. Look how he keeps his distance." I quietly observed him. The tips of his ears had turned red. His brows had relaxed. More importantly, his body language wasn't rejecting me. So it wasn't disgust. He was just shy, pretending to hesitate. I lowered my voice. "I've been thinking. I don't think we're that compatible. Lisa said your family doesn't care about social status. But after looking into it a little, I feel like the gap between us is still pretty big." A trace of confusion flashed through Oliver's eyes. His expression, however, barely changed. Just then, my phone lit up several times. Oliver's movements paused. Standing so close, and being much taller than me, he could easily see the screen. He recognized the sender's name immediately, so he asked directly, "Did someone say something?" I handed him my phone. Oliver raised an eyebrow. He didn't refuse. He was genuinely curious about what ridiculous stories those rich boys had invented this time. Since Zoe was notoriously difficult to pursue, he'd already heard about a bet going around among the wealthy crowd. Whoever could date her for 1 month without getting dumped. He knew those guys weren't exactly decent people. Their families simply moved in the same social circles. That was all. After reading through the messages, Oliver's expression darkened. Oliver has a terrible temper. Didn't you say you're a germaphobe? The wealthy circle is a complete mess. He's obsessed with his sister. And there are things I really shouldn't say. You should look into him more yourself. Oh, and by the way, I'm an only child. A guy with his looks and background who's never had a girlfriend? That's suspicious all by itself. Don't believe Lisa when she says their family doesn't care about social status. Oliver won't even let her date a broke pretty boy. She knows he likes you. Yet she's still encouraging you to pursue him. Maybe she just thinks that if you two get together, he'll stop interfering in her life. My family, though, we genuinely don't care about any of that. Chapter 7. As Oliver skimmed through the messages about Lisa, his gaze lingered for a few seconds. Without avoiding the topic, he tapped on Lisa's profile. He saw that earlier I'd asked her what kind of relationship the two of them had. Lisa had replied, "Oliver really treats me well, but we're just siblings. Besides, I already have a boyfriend. My family is very open-minded. My mom says she'll never interfere with my love life. Did my brother tell you he only dates girls from wealthy families? I think you should just ask him directly." To prove she was telling the truth, Lisa sent several photos from her dates. The floating comments shattered. No way. In the original story, the female lead asked the supporting girl to test the male lead by asking whether there was anyone he liked in their social circle. The male lead admitted it right away. Then, after the female lead cried later, he'd finally confessed that the person he loved was her. Now the male lead is probably going to think the female lead genuinely likes that pretty boy gold digger. A trace of disappointment appeared in my eyes. If it's inconvenient for you, I'm okay with keeping our relationship private. But you have to tell me what you're really thinking first. I only want a normal relationship. If you already like another girl, then you absolutely can't pursue me. I hate being lied to, and I don't do emotional games. Oliver closed the chat. I'm not that kind of person. Our eyes met. There was obvious hesitation in his gaze. He was thinking about how to tell me the truth. That was one thing I liked about him. When he was young, he wasn't very calculating. Everything showed on his face. My eyes drifted to his lips. They were surprisingly well-shaped. And he'd never even had his first kiss. Untainted. Just as he was about to confess something, I rose onto my tiptoes. My lips brushed lightly against his. I believe you. Oliver froze. His pupils contracted slightly. The floating comments exploded. Wait, what? Shouldn't the gold digger be demanding a relationship? Why is she backing off instead? Why didn't the male lead push her away? Why is he puckering his lips? What's that supposed to mean? The female lead waited downstairs for 20 minutes. Meanwhile, the male lead was too busy on his date to reply to her messages. After the kiss ended, I was the first to speak. I suggested we take a walk. Oliver agreed. He slipped his car keys back into his pocket. I'd deliberately chosen a nighttime walk. Quiet surroundings made it easier for people to open up, and the night itself always seemed to blur the line between intimacy and the illusion of love. As we walked, his eyes kept drifting toward me. Suddenly, a car horn sounded nearby. Pretending to miss a step, I stumbled. Oliver instinctively reached out to steady me. After we looked at each other for a few moments, he quietly took my hand. He also started talking much more than before. It wasn't until nearly 9 o'clock that we finally returned to the dorm. When you're kissing someone you're instinctively attracted to, the experience feels surprisingly wonderful. Before heading upstairs, I leaned in and kissed him again. Whether he'd end up liking me in the future didn't matter. At least, right now, I was enjoying myself. Oliver quietly watched my figure disappear into the dormitory. Then, he touched his own lips. The floating comments fell strangely silent. Moments later, they erupted into a fierce argument over whether the male lead had stayed loyal or not. Seriously? The male lead parked his car and spent the whole evening walking around campus with the NPC? Traffic police. Give that illegally parked car every ticket you've got. If there aren't any tickets, at least charge him outrageous parking fees. I can't take this anymore. Still, the female lead has a boyfriend too. If all else fails, everyone should just mind their own business. The male lead was the one who reached for her hand. The gorgeous NPC didn't do a single thing wrong. The The person above must have lost their mind. Relax. The male and female leads have never stayed mad at each other for more than 3 days. Besides, neither of them has ever publicly confirmed their relationship. So technically they aren't even dating. Lisa was still sulking at Oliver because he hadn't replied to any of her messages the previous night. And because I'd come back so late, she had completely lost her usual composure. In the original story, whenever Oliver was flirting with the supporting girl, he'd ignore the female lead's messages too. For those 3 days, neither of them contacted the other. Meanwhile, the moment I returned to the dorm, I happily shared details about my date, just to tease Lisa a little. The instant she found out Oliver and I had kissed, her expression darkened. She looked stifled and miserable. She didn't say another word to me all night. The only reply she gave was, "Oh, I know, haha." Chapter 8. After figuring out my daily routine, Oliver started waiting for me before my morning runs and picking me up after class. He was slowly settling into the role of a boyfriend. In his mind, once two people had kissed, they were already together. From that day on, we were constantly seen around campus side by side. After spending several days with me, even Oliver was surprised. We liked many of the same things. We both enjoyed exercising, read similar books, watched the same kinds of movies. No matter what topic came up, I could always keep the conversation going. While chatting, he often brought up Lisa. He even took the initiative to explain that they weren't related by blood. The floating comments from the sibling shippers completely lost it. In the original story, the male lead didn't explain that until after he got together with the female lead. Before that, everyone in the dorm thought they were biological siblings. He said, "If I start talking about something Lisa doesn't understand, she gets upset." She spent most of her childhood staying at home, so she never got to experience much. We're a blended family. I always wanted a little sister when I was growing up, so I liked taking her out and showing her new things. I guess I was making up for that childhood regret. I taught her how to ski once. She took one bad fall and refused to go with me ever again. Oliver showed me the photos, then added, "I'll take you next time. I used to think you were like Lisa, that you weren't into sports." She wanted to go jogging with me once. She didn't even make it half a lap before giving up. I smiled. She looks adorable in those photos. Realizing he'd mentioned Lisa a little too often, Oliver rubbed the bridge of his nose. Whenever I was around him, I always spoke well of Lisa. I made it clear that I saw them as nothing more than siblings. But if he mentioned another woman, I'd frown ever so slightly. Oliver still wasn't emotionally mature. Sometimes he'd deliberately bring up another girl, just to watch my reaction. Eventually, unable to hold back his curiosity, he asked, "You don't mind that Lisa and I used to be so close?" I looked at him in confusion. You two are siblings. No matter how jealous someone is, they can't ask you to ignore your own sister. Besides, we're not even boyfriend and girlfriend. Doing something like that would be crossing a line. Since Oliver and I had been appearing together almost everywhere these past few days, everyone around campus assumed we were dating, even without making it official. Oliver froze. They had done practically everything except take the final step. How were they not boyfriend and girlfriend? His lips pressed into a thin line. He was unhappy. Whenever Oliver got upset, he stopped talking. Once I noticed, I'd always coax him after a few moments. After all, he was incredibly easy to cheer up. The moment he felt better, he started buying me gifts again. In just 3 days, my dorm room gained 8 new dresses and 3 new handbags. As usual, I gently squeezed his hand. After staring at him long enough to make him uncomfortable, I softly reassured him, "But you're the only person I've ever kissed. You're different." Oliver nodded with obvious satisfaction. Then he introduced me to several friends from his social circle. Right in front of them, he took my phone, deleted every guy who clearly had ulterior motives, and personally cleared up several rumors about me on the spot. Once he finished, his smug expression was impossible to hide. Someone immediately teased him. "Anyone who didn't know better would think you're getting married. Oliver, your stepsister used to follow you everywhere. We all thought you two were going to end up together." Oliver shot them a cold glare, then immediately looked at me. His expression turned unexpectedly nervous. Don't listen to their nonsense. I nodded. Oliver quietly watched me for a long while. The floating comments from the sibling shippers stubbornly refused to give up. The male lead secretly searched. Does it mean my girlfriend doesn't love me if she never gets jealous? Ha ha ha. This is killing me. He wanted to show off how much his girlfriend loved him. But everyone in the replies kept telling him, your girlfriend doesn't love you. Ever since he started dating the NPC, the male lead has become such a drama queen. Earlier he even deliberately tried making her jealous a few times. And she only frowned a little. Fine. I'm shipping them just this once. Chapter 9. After asking about my relationship progress, Rita and Karen said in unison, I approve of this relationship. He was definitely worth pursuing. I smiled. Actually, he was the one who chased me first. We'll probably make it official in a while. When that happens, dinner's on us. Lisa stopped walking. Her eyes reddened. She immediately sent Oliver a message. Didn't you say you didn't like Zoe before? You lied to me. Oliver had been checking the almanac, trying to pick an auspicious day to make their relationship public. Originally, he had wanted to announce it today, but Zoe had said the first time should be special. Today's date wasn't considered lucky. The almanac said it was unsuitable for important events, so he held himself back. The moment his phone lit up, he thought it was Zoe, but when he saw the little red notification beside Lisa's name, a trace of disappointment flickered across his eyes. He opened the message. It was another accusation. His patience wore thin. He replied, that was before. Don't say anything unnecessary in front of her. I finally managed to win her over. For some reason, ever since he started dating, he couldn't shake an uneasy feeling. And up until now, Zoe had never once checked his phone. Did that mean she didn't care enough? Oliver quietly cleared his entire chat history with Lisa. When you're in a relationship, your partner is bound to check your phone sooner or later. Even if Lisa was his sister, they shouldn't seem too close. Otherwise, people looking to stir up trouble would only spread more rumors. Lisa sent a voice message. Her voice trembled with tears. Oliver, I broke up with my boyfriend. Oliver replied, I know. Lisa stared at the screen. She waited, expecting something more. Nothing came. Panic slowly spread through her. Her fingers tightened around her phone. The only people who had ever suspected she secretly loved Oliver were her closest friends. She forwarded the chat to one of them. What do? I think my brother hates me now. He never used to talk to me like this. I even broke up with my boyfriend because he wanted me to. After everyone else left the dorm, Lisa finally asked me, trying to suppress her emotions. Did you tell Oliver something about me? I nodded honestly. We talked about some things from your past. She misunderstood immediately. Her face turned pale. Moments later, she answered a phone call, then hurried out. The floating comments appeared again. The female lead's besties are amazing. I wish I had friends who'd take me to a bar to order gorgeous male hosts after a breakup. The male lead is definitely going to get jealous and drag her back. This trope is getting so old. Why does every breakup have to involve male hosts? The person above must be an NPC fan. I'd better not catch you. Just wait. The second the female lead cries, the male lead will come running back. Based on Oliver's personality, there was no way he'd allow the female lead to spend the night at a bar with male hosts. I timed everything carefully. Just as Oliver was setting off to find Lisa, I casually sent him a message asking where he was. Feeling guilty, he didn't answer honestly. Instead, he replied, something came up. Give me about half an hour. I'll video call you afterward. I didn't press him. By the time Oliver emerged from the bar with a dark expression, Lisa was clearly tipsy. She leaned toward him, not quite touching him, just testing the distance. You aren't even drunk. Stand properly, Oliver said coldly. The emotions Lisa had been bottling up for days finally exploded. She burst into tears. If I'm such a nuisance, then stop caring about me. Why did you even come for me? Oliver, can you honestly say you've never liked me? You were the one who said you didn't like her at all. So why are you going out with Zoe? I admit it. I like you. I don't want you dating anyone else. I give up. Okay? Oliver fell silent. He stood there motionless. The moment he looked up, His eyes met mine from not far away. Chapter 10. My gaze lingered on the distance between the two of them. Then I turned around and walked away. Oliver's face instantly went pale. He hurriedly stepped away from Lisa. He shot her one cold look. It had better not have been you who brought her here. Then he left Lisa with one of his friends and immediately chased after me. Misunderstood. Lisa stood frozen. Tears fell silently to the ground. She wiped them away, lowered her head, and didn't say another word. Oliver called my name several times. After catching up, he hurriedly explained. Lisa and I are really just siblings now. I only like you. He rambled the entire way. I never responded. Eventually, he fell silent. After returning home, he repeatedly opened our chat window. He spent a long time thinking about what to say, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't come up with the right words. Finally, he tapped on Zoe's profile. He wanted to check whether the Instagram post with the two little cats was still there, just to comfort himself. Instead, there was nothing, only a blank line. Had she deleted the post because she was angry? Panicking, he quickly sent her a message. A huge red exclamation mark appeared beside it. Ah, only then did it dawn on him. He'd been deleted. The last bit of hope in his heart died. The floating comments filled with nothing but ellipses. Then someone finally spoke. Male lead. Have you seriously not noticed the female lead deleted you too? He really hadn't. Tentatively, Oliver sent another friend request. Not long afterward, it was accepted. Before a smile could reach his face, Zoe's cool voice came through. Looks like my concerns weren't unfounded after all. If you just admitted from the beginning that you used to like her, I could have understood. Let's end it here. We're done. The video call ended. Another red exclamation mark appeared. I didn't like men who constantly tested people or played emotional games, because the only reason they dared do that was that they believed they could never be broken up with. And that kind of confidence usually meant their efforts in a relationship stayed shallow. The floating comments sighed. This was the most intoxicating stage of a relationship, right before going public. His first love, the one he'd already chosen, and then she cut him off completely. If I were the male lead, I'd remember this for the rest of my life. The gorgeous NPC never lacked admirers in the original story. She's genuinely amazing. Falling for her is only natural. With the male lead's pride, after getting deleted twice, there's no way he'll reach out again. Oliver really didn't add me again, but after disappearing for several days, I began running into him everywhere. My routine was incredibly consistent. I took the same routes almost every day. Outside, I was always polite to everyone. At first, when Oliver realized I'd still smile and greet him normally in person, his eyes lit up. He thought he still had a chance. Then he gradually realized I smiled at everyone like that. Besides, there were always annoying admirers hovering around me. A flicker of resentment and unwillingness flashed through his eyes. Soon enough, he adjusted his expression again. As if by coincidence, he kept appearing in every corner of my daily life. The floating comments continued updating in real time. The male lead is secretly stalking from the shadows. The male lead is privately warning all his friends to stay away. I'm dying. Every admirer around the NPC keeps getting quietly eliminated. But admirers are like spring grass. You cut one down and another grows back. There'll be a whole new batch of freshmen next year. I used to think the male lead and Zoe weren't compatible. They're both cold and proud, so they didn't seem to balance each other out. But now this guy has completely changed. He's smiling all day and finding excuses to stick close to her. No idea what he's so ridiculously happy about. A month passed like that. One day, Lisa suddenly came to see me. She apologized. I was immature before. I can see it now. He really does like you. I've tried contacting him, but this entire month, he hasn't added me back. I don't want to lose the only family I have. I won't do something like this again. To be honest, I really was jealous of you at first. She looked at me uneasily. The more she spoke, the faster her words came. Her eyes gradually reddened. Lisa cared deeply about her pride. To her, apologizing in front of everyone had already taken tremendous courage. Even the floating comments agreed. Everyone in the dorm was there. They quietly listened without interrupting. After learning the whole story from me, my roommates no longer comforted Lisa the way they once had. Embarrassment spread across Lisa's face. I simply nodded. I understand, but I won't date someone who's ever been emotionally entangled with another woman. And that isn't something I only apply to Oliver. Her lips parted, but no words came out. In the end, unable to bear the heavy silence filling the dorm, she made up an excuse and hurried out. Chapter 11. A few days later, I applied to move out of the dorm. I was actually curious. Now that I'd stepped out of the story and stopped disrupting the plot, would the attraction between the male and female leads grow stronger? The answer surprised me. Oliver had completely made up his mind. He was done with Lisa. That was also the biggest reason Lisa came to apologize after finally giving up. Feelings are never one-sided. Once she realized there was no future between her and Oliver, she chose the option that benefited her the most. Otherwise, if that scandal ever got out, it wouldn't do her any favors either. My roommates later told me Lisa had given each of them $100,000 in hush money. She'd asked them not to tell anyone. They jokingly asked whether they should accept it. I smiled. So, why didn't I get any hush money? Karen looked up thoughtfully. Maybe because she knows you wouldn't spread it anyway. After all, no one understands their rival better than another rival. A year passed in the blink of an eye. Oliver changed. He became much calmer, much more mature. He no longer played childish games to test people. Instead, he approached me little by little. That said, he wasn't exactly subtle. Everyone knew he was pursuing me. At first, nobody believed Oliver would stick with it. People said a rich young heir like him was only chasing something new and exciting. But eventually, those voices faded away. Because he gave too much. He was nothing like the others who only knew how to throw money around. When I refused to add his contact, Oliver simply came to find me in person. I majored in finance, although I consistently ranked first in my class. Compared with someone born into immense privilege, our starting lines had never been the same. So I asked him directly, "Can you help me?" Not long afterward, someone from Oliver's side secured me a place in a prestigious research program. He said casually, "Special approval from MD." Only then did I accept his friend request. But I still didn't agree to date him. Throughout that year, Oliver introduced me to nearly everyone in his social circle. 2 more years passed. Then one day, Oliver's family contacted me. Their meaning was simple. They thought I was a wonderful person. But my family background wasn't quite a match. For my sake, Oliver had already turned down several marriage prospects from families within their circle. So they offered me 2 choices. One was a future. They would arrange for me to study abroad and help me get into an excellent university. The other was wealth. They were willing to pay me an enormous breakup settlement. Their attitude wasn't rude, but every word carried quiet scrutiny, along with the subtle arrogance that came from privilege. Both shortcuts were tempting. I refused them both, because if I was destined to reach the same destination eventually, I'd rather arrive a little later. With my head held high, smiling politely, I replied, "I understand what you're trying to say, but Oliver and I aren't actually dating." They looked genuinely surprised, then only confused. Afterward, I told Oliver everything exactly as it happened. I left the matter for him to handle. I had no intention of wasting my time navigating complicated family politics. A message from Lisa soon popped up. "I've agreed to an arranged marriage this time." Seriously, my mom and Oliver's dad meeting with you had nothing to do with me. I honestly didn't know. Also, my brother has become a lot like you. Even his micro-expressions look like yours now. Every time I see him, I feel like I'm looking at you. Ors. The floating comments immediately appeared. The male lead secretly copied Zoe's facial expressions. The female lead caught him once and looked like she'd seen a ghost. That's what happens when you truly love someone, you start becoming like them. The male lead is already racing over. When Oliver's parents and I walked outside, his car was already waiting. Oliver stood beside it. He didn't come in. He exchanged a glance with his parents, then forced himself to smile at me. Despite the obvious gloom hanging over him, he still looked strangely defeated. Finally, he blurted out, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to them. I told them you were my girlfriend." I studied him quietly for a moment. then smiled. By now, he knew my expressions well enough to read them. The moment he saw me blink, his eyes lit up. Ignoring his parents' indescribable expressions, he hurried over and eagerly took my bag from my hand. It seemed the final obstacle had finally disappeared. The man standing before me now had become exactly the kind of partner I wanted. I let out a soft laugh. Oliver, let's give us a try.